Before we begin, as I look at that, Anthony?
Yes.
Before we begin, obviously looking around the room, I see many new faces tonight. I just want to go over quickly the agenda and how things will work this evening. There are 3 public hearings, business board meeting, followed by general public comments. We ask that you speak on the topics as they come up. In other words, if you have a question on the regular board meeting, you wait until that resolution goes up on the board meeting. If you have a question on the public hearings, you mentioned during the public hearings. And at the end, if there's anything we haven't heard, the board does stay and on the neighborhood that we're aware of. Also, the Village of Valley Stream has had a very long-standing policy that we're very proud of, that we don't take cards and make a list of who speaks, and then everybody's got 2 minutes to speak and then they get cut off, et cetera. But what we are asking is that we do have a lot of people in the audience, and we'd like you to just be courteous and conscientious of your friends and neighbors, and we allow people to speak, that you not be repetitive, that you not interrupt, that you let your friends and neighbors all have their say as they're entitled to, as you are. So the only thing we may do as a board, we might ask you, okay, we understand, we hear you, please take a seat. There's 20 more people who wish to speak. We're going to have 3 public hearings. The first is on a standardization New York State liquor law, which we will go into. The second is a permissive referendum to opt out of cannabis. And the third is a mandatory referendum to opt out of cannabis. So with that being said,
Trustee Tuffarelli.
Here.
Trustee Thomas. Here. Trustee Grasso.
Here.
Trustee Wright on Zoom.
Here.
Sean, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
We have
Rebecca got it. All right. Mayor Fair.
here.
This public hearing is to consider proposed local law I-2021. A local law amending the code of the Incorporated Village of Valley Stream entitled zoning by amending 99-2008 entitled special use permits.
We have any comments from the board? The liquor law compliance law. Well, basically, council, if we want to summarize it quickly, was bringing us into compliance with the state law,
Right,
correct?
basically, it's bringing the geographic limitations from 300 feet down to 200 feet,
Which is the state law.
which is state standard is correct.
All right, any other comments from the board? Comments from the public? All right, so before we close the public hearing on the liquor law, the clerk can read the following resolutions into the minutes.
Resolution 221-21, secret resolution type 2 action, local law 9-2021.
You can move the resolution. Second. Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Tuffarelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas.
Yes.
Trustee Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Fair.
Yes.
Resolution 222-21, adopt local law 9-2021.
Second. Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Tuffarelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas.
Yes.
Trustee Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Fair.
Yes. Need a motion to close the first public hearing. Motion closed. Second. Roll call.
Trustee Tuffarelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas.
Yes.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Fair.
Yes. When you're ready, Mr. Clerk, second public hearing, local law.
All right. Roll call, Trustee Tuffarelli.
Yeah.
Trustee Thomas.
Here.
Trustee Grasso.
Here.
Trustee Wright.
Here.
Mayor Fair.
Here.
This is public hearing to consider proposed local J-2021, which is subject to a permissive referendum.
All right, just to clarify, the permissive referendum is that the public is entitled to get signatures and votes to allow the village to opt in to the cannabis law. That would be if the required amount of signatures were submitted on a petition. Before we begin both these local laws, just quickly, the Board of Trustees and I, a lot of you have been here, have discussed the pros and cons and the ramifications and statewide of the legalization of cannabis. And we've had a lot of input from the public. The last 4 months, many people have been coming to the regular meetings and asking and discussing and making sure their voices were heard for almost 4 months. I think the board and myself have been very thorough and open-minded, and we've diligently listened to all sides. I'll remind everybody again, we had a long-standing policy to remain transparent and let everyone who wants to speak. This first one is again for the permissive referendum, where the village votes to opt out, and then if the required petitions are submitted to the village clerk, a vote goes to the public, and the public can reverse our decision. Further comments from the board? Comments from the public? Good vote. Oh, a reminder for everyone, when you step to the mic, you do have a court reporter. You just have to state your name and address for the record, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, folks who I know here. My name is Robert Vogel. I served as a Valley Stream Village Justice for a period of 30 years. I am currently a county court judge and acting state Supreme Court judge in Mineola, assigned to the felony criminal parts. Also, just two people I would like to recognize in the audience. We have John Placus, who's the director of the Nassau County Department of Probation, and Jim Wiley, who's director of Bridge, which is our local drug rehabilitation program here as well as countless other citizens who are very concerned about this particular opt-out and opt-in law. Just for the record, normally you don't see a judge speak like this, but for the record, I contacted the Office of Court Administration and the Advisory Committee on Judicial Ethics. And I'm speaking here because these are issues that affect the administration of law and justice. And of course, personally, I lived in Valley Stream for all my life, and I am here for that concern as well. As you might be aware, I think approximately 60 village and town boards in Nassau County have rejected. I think this board, they rejected, by the way, in its entirety, I might add. And I ask you, this board tonight, to join in their collective wisdom. Recently, there were 2 deaths that took place. Two in a car accident in West Hempstead, one in Williston Park, and it was clear that marijuana and THC was the specific drug that resulted in those deaths. Shape of things to come. When cannabis stores open, 5%. Many smoked right after they left their store. Think about that tonight, folks. Pot is still a crime in New York State. It's only limited in terms of its amount. If you possess 15 or 16 ounces, you'd be 1 year in jail. If you have 7 ounces, 7 pounds, it could be 5 years in jail, up to 7 years. If you sell 16 hours of marijuana, it's still a crime in New York State. It's still a crime recognized nationally. The only thing is we're going to criminalize marijuana. That's different. It's decriminalized in small amounts. But it's another thing for a community, a municipality, to commercialize and embrace this narcotic as a source of revenue. Studies in Denver, LA, and Washington State have resulted in some of the most disturbing information that I know of. Underage purchases. Now, it's hard enough when you have an issue with the big brother, big sister syndrome, buying pot for the underage. But what about the standards of underage buying on their own time? Washington State, one of the few states that has done research on this, found that 40 of 157 cannabis stores sold to minors and were cited for violations because they didn't check IDs or ignored obviously fake IDs. That's the only state that's done a detailed study. There's a belief in California, informally, it could be many as 1 out of 3 stores that sell to minors. Now, I don't have to tell you, Jim Wiley from Ridge could say about the impact of marijuana on minors. We're talking about difficulties with problem solving, memory loss, school performance, DWIs, addiction, you can be addicted to marijuana. You can also be a gateway drug for some people, not everybody, but everybody picks their gateway drug. In Denver, a college student, underage, smoked marijuana and fell out of his fourth floor apartment building and died. He was in a high hallucinating state because of a high level of THC. As a village board, if this happened in Valley Stream, you would own this. You would own this if it happened here. Now, how about what happened in a situation where somebody with mental illness goes and buys a narcotic? We don't have anything like the Brady law where you can check on this or check on. A person suffering clinical depression went into a store, purchased pot, went home, and in a delusional state shot and killed his wife. He was a veteran, he was imagining he was back in combat. Now, goes up in places where these stores exist, between 25% and as much as 100%, depending on where the store is. Burglaries and robberies and DWIs clearly go up, not to mention vandalism and graffiti, sometimes as much as 35%. So there goes your revenue stream, folks, to be doing with code enforcement. Now, as far as revenue, I want to bring the fact that Lyndhurst just reduced from 27,000, they get a pathetic $30,000 in revenue. Now, why is it? What do we get Valley Stream? Maybe 40,000? Another detailed study was done up in Herkimer County in Old Fort. But they say, well, they reject it as well. They can go down and buy marijuana in Utica or Syracuse, and you can buy it in New York City or go out to Babylon. We don't need that. But that's the problem with that. There's a cash business that people will tell you about, because marijuana is not recognized federally. Cash business, they can have a situation there where you really have a serious problem here. And do you really want the village to make money on the backs of our residents, and particularly possibly our children? Remember, you're a kid, you can walk to the store, no problem with that. If we're ever getting a car to a city, walk right to the store. Now, in conclusion, I do want to tell you that all I've given you now is facts and the law. So trustees, please opt out. Keep in mind, this is the new law, and new laws have a lot of problems. Social Security, be met several times in the future. And if you opt in, we are personally stuck with this. There are no other communities in Nassau County that are doing this. We will be the lab rat for Nassau County. We will be Nassau County's lab rat. Is that what you want Valley Stream to be? I don't think so. As they say in the law, if this happens, you can't unring a bell. Once we have it, we have it. We can't opt out, we are opt in. And we can always opt in down the road. If for some reason it works out, I can't see how, but we can always opt in down the road. This is not do or die this minute. No reason we can't be brought up a year or two down the road. Like I said, I'm not based in favor of it, but you can always consider it in the future. This doesn't have to be now. So opting out is the best course. So once again, we're the lab rat in Nassau County, and I don't want that to happen. You all were elected to take this responsibility. I know you folks, I ran with some of you. And you have a board here tonight. I know you folks, please make the right decision and end it tonight. We voted for all of you to make the right decision. Do not shrink or neglect your elected and constitutional responsibilities. Vote to opt out and include this most serious of issues for our village this evening, once and for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Bogle.
Anita Langella, L-A-N as in Nancy, G-E-L-L-A, 50 South Cottage Street. Also lifelong resident of Valley Stream.
Way to go.
Yes. I am not here because I believe marijuana should be taxed and regulated. I do believe that, but that's not why I'm here. I am also not here because, let's face it, has anybody ever met a vicious stoner? But we've all met vicious drunks. But we can drink, but we can't smoke. Now, I'm here because if I understood the Herald article correctly, this thing is gonna go on Rockaway Avenue. I'll live on top of that avenue. I'll work on top of that avenue. I'll shop on that avenue. 90% of my driving is making big circles around Valley Stream. I see a lot. I know more about that avenue than everybody in this building, including David. David, I love you, but. Okay. Now, the avenue's got two main problems. One, that our anchor store is dying, this won't address. The other is the lack of a major draw. Is this exactly the draw I would like? No, but it's a draw. We're talking about bringing people to the avenue with disposable income who are gonna come out of that smoking lounge, not quite ready to go home, they're a little hungry, they're a little thirsty, and they'll go into another shop, another store, something. You don't have anything right now, with the notable exception of the church schools, that puts people on that avenue. It's not the courthouse. I know the bakery owner in a prior election cycle said, yeah, the courthouse, I hate to tell you, it's just there. But she lied, told me point blank, she told, because I went in there and said, what? Her answer to me when I finally got her to answer me was what he wanted to hear, because she likes you. I like you too. I voted every time, but this is coming from tough love. The courthouse ain't doing it. The building you want to put up on Franklin Avenue, if you do on Franklin Avenue what you did on South Cottage Street, we're going to have two overpriced pieces of crap in distress instead of the one we already have. When the Assembly of God Church was going to expand the school, we all went, yay. But you all went to court and said, no, we can't give up the $10,000 in tax. Outweigh the needs of the few. You know, the avenue needs everything it can get. And is this the perfect thing I want? No. I'm not saying I don't want a place I could buy something in Valley Stream, but is this the perfect thing I want for the avenue? No, but we're talking people coming to the avenue with disposable income. Okay, how can you turn that down? The avenue is dead at night. Really, look at the big, I know your job, all of you, is to look at the big picture, the village as a whole, but the business district is the most unique neighborhood in this village. If you go over to the library and look at the 1845 map, the street you grew up on is not there. The street I grew up on is not there, but the street I raised my family on is there. That's why this area has so many problems, because it's so old. I say this will help us. If I'm wrong, you can beat me with a wet noodle and legislate it out of existence.
Thank you, Anita.
You're ready.
Hello, my name is Jim Weiler. I'm the executive director of Friends of Bridge. We're an addiction and alcohol recovery facility. It's on floodplains, Valley Stream. We've been here for 52 years, serving the community. I was here back in the end of September as a representative of the facility and a part of Valley Stream. You know, we are concerned as people who treat drug addiction, alcoholism. Not only the fact that New York has legalized it, we get that, and parts of that component we actually like. We don't want people in jail for low level consumption. But there is a problem when you start opening up cannabis stores all over the place. And yes, in tandem with what the judge is saying, not one, I double checked today, not one town in Nassau County has opted in as of today. Not one. Let's not be the first. Okay? When I was last here in September, there was over 200 medical prescribers in Nassau County alone. Okay? Over 24 more prescribers have joined in, because you have to be an MD and take a 2 to 4 hour course online. That's all you have to do. Go online and take a 2 to 4 hour course to become a prescriber. 21 of them are available in Valley Stream, Hewlett, and Malvern alone. Prescribed medical marijuana, okay? There are now 43 cannabis dispensaries in Nassau and local Queens, and they're up 34. Yeah. They're growing in leaps and bounds. Brooklyn is inundated. Okay, but you can also get home deliveries. Don't worry. It's not a problem. All right? So we don't have to open them here. Just go on the web, click, 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 and order it. They'll bring it to you if you have a card. It's not a problem, okay? Within the addiction community, marijuana cards come into treatment, refusing to give us the card, saying they are prescribed, and getting cannabis, okay? Now, there's a problem with that. A, as a responsible prescriber mandated by the state of New York, have to have that card to say they're allowed to be in treatment for another disorder, opioid disorder, anxiolytic disorder, whatever it may be, and allow them to be in our facility under the influence possibly, or at least having THC in their system. But the state also tells me I cannot force them to give me the card. And they're going to the cannabis dispensary and getting THC up to the level of 90% THC content. Because you can get gummies, you can get vapes, you can get oils, you can get up to 90% THC levels. If the doctor, when he prescribes, doesn't specifically put on the prescription exactly what you were supposed to get. If it's left blank, which it has been, we've seen it already many times, they can go in and just take stuff off the shelves. That is a major problem. Now, I'm not trying to compare the two. The same thing happened with the opioid epidemic. Completely different substances, but they started prescribing off what it was supposed to be. Opioids were for cancer and end-of-life treatment. Suddenly they prescribed for everything. People started getting violently ill and then dying. I'm not saying this is gonna happen. What I'm saying is we're seeing psychotic episodes. We're seeing people having psychotic breaks. We're seeing children in hospitals. This is not the way it should be because people are now allowed to have a medical marijuana card. This is not the way it's supposed to work. And again, these are supposed to be responsible people prescribing the medication. But you also have the reality that nowadays, just like the epidemic with opioids, you had the medicine cabinet becoming the new dealer. That kids would go into the medicine cabinet, grab whatever it was out of their parents' medicine cabinet and take it. There was no longer a stigma associated. Well, now you have edibles and all these things that are packaged to look like Oreos, to look like Cheetos, to look like gummy bears, to look like all different things. Well, their parent goes and buys it, put it in their dresser or put it wherever and hide it, and the kid goes and finds it. Well, guess what? They just took an edible with a 40% THC level in it, and they got rushed to the hospital. All different, if you just do a Google search, I did one this afternoon, okay? California, Connecticut, New York, Washington, Ohio, Florida, and New Jersey. Just 2 pages of a Google search have all in the end of 2021 put out warnings due to increased calls to their call centers for poison control from kids eating edibles, especially lookalike edibles packaged as gummies, lollipops, mints, Cheerios, Oreos. Calls come in for children and teens under 19s, but most calls are for children 6 years and younger. Okay. Edibles taste like candy, cookies, Oreos, brownies. One gummy is a single dose. Who the hell eats one gummy?
I do. I'm sorry.
Really?
I'm sorry.
Okay. So edibles also have a higher concentration. That's what the whole cannabis THC level is all about, it's a higher concentration. It's not like back in the day. Okay, but a child has a smaller size weight. That of course is going to cause a serious problem. And that's why they end up in a healthcare facility, whether it's called a poison control or it's rushed to the hospital. Now, listen, I'm not saying this is a massive problem. I'm saying it's becoming a big problem. Because it's being found and it's being eaten, because it's a gummy bear, because it's a cookie, because it's packaged exactly like an Oreo, a Cheeto, things like that. And again, you have people going to, get their medical marijuana and they're sharing it with friends who aren't used to a 45% THC. Right? These are all collateral damage that is happening. All right? Drugs interfere with our brains. We know that whether we want to admit it or not. Okay? Children's brains don't fully cognitively develop till they're 25 years old. Okay. I treat adolescents. All of my adolescents consistently come in for what? Cannabis. It's either cannabis or it's anxiolytics. That's Xanax, that's Klonopin, anti-anxiety agents, or alcohol. 75 to 80% is cannabis.
You have to direct your comment to the board.
It's cannabis. Okay, that's their problem. But it's not their problem. They're just smoking now and they could stop anytime they want. But I also treat people who were in your guys' generation, who could stop anytime they want back then, but still can't. Okay? They haven't done what they wanted to do. They haven't reached any of their goals. They have no coping skills because they never learned them, because they turned to marijuana every time they had a problem. Okay? People don't
Just
think
have to ask you to
marijuana.
try to wrap it up. We have
Yeah,
people
I'm about to. Okay? So there are a lot of adverse issues with marijuana. We don't need to opt in and make our town a problem. No, it's not something we need to do. If kids start using before the age of 18, they're more likely to develop a disorder. The CDC and the National Institute of Drug Addiction both say the same. If they start using before the age of 18, they're more likely to get a disorder. And that doesn't mean necessarily cannabis disorder. That means any disorder. Okay? So we're talking about enabling as a whole, whether that means they're in contact with it or we're just, as Valley Stream, saying cannabis is all right.
Sir?
Stephen Bruno, 49 Kemmer Road. I'm here because there's a lot of, it's like almost like fear mongering from like 25 years ago going on. I know two of you personally. I've worked for the other two of you in your campaign. I don't think I've been a bad person, and I've smoked cannabis the entire time. I had to smoke cannabis in order to get here today, so I don't know if that's funny. That's weird. No, yeah, no, that's weird. So I don't think it's funny at all. And it's weird that a lot of facts are being thrown out, but like none of them seem correct or up to date, because a lot of opioid usage is down in every single state where cannabis has been legalized. The amount of kids that use it is down because kids aren't really interested in doing things that are legal, in case anybody like really knew that. Like when you can just go to a store and do it. And if you look, that's fact. You can look at all those states where it's legal. Kids 17, 18, they're not doing it. Their parents are doing it. That's fine. I also lived in Denver for a little while, so as soon as they buy it, it's a more private thing. So there's like a lot of stuff being talked about by people who have absolutely no idea what they're talking about here. So it's hard to sit back and listen to people be fed like crazy ideas of what's gonna happen and all this. The state of California just last year made over $1 billion in tax revenue, not in sales, in tax revenue in the country. I mean, in the state. So just because everyone else is opting out, the idea that cannabis is not sold here, that's a wild thing. Because I'm sure more than half this room was able to get it without going to a dispensary tonight. So the idea that it's gonna stop or that it's gonna start happening here and start being sold here seems, it's just like one of these parents that they didn't seem to understand also. So if you never partaken in it and you just don't understand it, that's one thing, and you can just say that, that's fine. But I know personally a lot of people who I've personally smoked with here. And I don't think any of them are bad people. So it just seems a little, it's hard to sit back and listen to a bunch of false narratives be fed to the community and you guys. When I think this is something that would make the town an absolute hit, just because everybody else opted out of it, you could be the first. It's whether or not anybody likes it or not. It's already being sold here. Cutting down crime, when you like to see it happen in a store instead of people driving to other people's houses, that's the crime right there. So it's weird that like you want to eliminate crime, but you don't want it to be done legally where the county and state can make all this money. And it's almost mind blowing to actually hear like the reasoning of, you know, someone was high and they crashed their car. You can have a diabetic episode and crash your car also, so you should not drink soda when you're driving. Like it's just like weird connections being made. No one's actually ever overdosed or died on cannabis, so that was also a false statement that was made. So I don't want anybody to think that it's something that's killing people. If you're irresponsible, just like if you're irresponsible with absolutely anything, that's what happens. So if you drink too much and you go out to a bar, which I've seen a lot of people also here very drunk at bars or political events or anything like that. So for people not to be able to enjoy themselves with what they enjoy when it doesn't really involve you, it's all being done at home anyway. No one stands out front. It's been legal here and for however long. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. People smoke in the streets, you don't notice it. People aren't acting crazy, people aren't going nuts. That's it. And I don't know, I think the public needs to open their eyes and be told the right things. And I'm sure the people here who are here for the right reason know that already. But it's the swaying vote that I guess needs to hear the right things. Like I wish everybody would be able to figure out. And that's all. Thanks.
Thank you. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. Ruben Negrino, 56 Elmwood Street. So I also grew up in Valley Stream, I was Valley South alumni, and now I'm actually a union representative working with Local 338 RWDSU UFCW, and we're a labor union that has organized cannabis workers in New York State over the last few years. So right now there's 10 medical cannabis operators in New York State, and we represent 8 of them, so we represent 80% of it. So we have a lot of experience in the industry, and we kind of just want the board to hear from us our perspective on what's already happened in New York State with the medical cannabis and what we project next. So first, I'd like to share with you the economic realities of working in the cannabis industry. So through our collective bargaining agreements, we've been able to set the standard for what these jobs can and should be, which is a full-time, family-sustaining job. That's actually a career. What we've been able to do is bring up the salaries for dispensary workers from anywhere between $18 to $22 an hour. We also represent pharmacists who make between $60 and $65 an hour, and the folks that actually grow and manufacture the product who would make anywhere between $18 and $25 an hour. Our members also, we negotiate for quality, affordable health insurance for themselves and their family at no cost to them, generous paid time off benefits, and access to scholarship programs, and of course, on-the-job protections. We believe that by investing in our members, we can help shape an industry that provides opportunities for growth and support not only our members, but their families as well. The adult use market is expected to generate over $300 million in sales for the state annually. Communities who opt in will receive revenue from a 3% point of sale tax, and that's just the beginning. Creating these jobs will also lead to ancillary businesses opening up. And like one of my compatriots just said, will also bring more economic growth for the town itself when folks, while they're already in the area. And hopefully, folks will be able to, if they actually obtain these jobs, be able to move into the communities where they're actually working. The reality is there are already people employed in the cannabis industry in New York State, and we can learn from what's already happened in the industry. Operators to rigorous standards and protocols, and workers are going to be well-trained in state regulatory standards and security requirements, particularly verifying identification. So if you've ever walked into one of the medical cannabis dispensaries, they're going to check your ID and they're going to make sure that you're over 21 years old. And so far in New York State, there have not been any instances of divergence or instances of folks being under 21 going into a dispensary and buying products. These products are also safely grown and lab tested and thoroughly labeled. So it's actually becoming very less likely that our members would be willing to jeopardize their employment by neglecting or violating state laws and regulations. Cannabis dispensaries are and will be heavily regulated by the state down to their advertising and window display from the street. Unless you know what you're looking for, you wouldn't even know that they're selling cannabis inside the building. These are legitimate businesses and workers and customers should feel safe. Placing them in an industrial zone outside of the route of regular foot traffic presents unnecessary conditions that undermine the security of a business in those areas. The state has given municipalities like yours the choice to opt in. However, if you decide, to opt out. However, if you decide to do so, you are turning down the opportunity to bring new jobs and businesses to your community, as well as a new revenue source for your local economy. Cannabis consumption will still be legal regardless of opt-out, and legal consumers will simply visit dispensaries in other municipalities or have dispensaries in neighboring communities delivered to their front door. Opting out simply means that the Village of Valley Stream stands to lose sales tax revenue and economic impact an adult use dispensary will bring to our community and prevent working people from taking advantage of the quality unionized jobs that a dispensary can offer. Dispensaries are already here, and they have not had a negative impact on our state. And the same is true for neighboring states that have tightly regulated marketplaces. Our members are passionate about their jobs and proud to serve their communities. Opting out would deprive residents and workers. I do call on the members of the village board to vote against opting out.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Lisa Shaver and,
Need your address for the record, please.
I live in Brooklyn. 345 Empire. But the reason why I'm here is so that you can hear the voice of someone that actually works in the cannabis industry. And I will confirm that there has been some misleading statements made, to put it politely. But anyway, understanding my experience and what it's like inside a dispensary is essential to the board for you guys to make your decision on whether or not to opt out. And I hope that what I share today will convince you to vote against opting out. I've been at the dispensary for almost 2 years now, and I spend every working shift with patients, consulting them on which types of products are available for their needs. And when I say patients, I'm talking about people that need help, people with cancer, people with serious issues that need relief from pain. And not everyone is down for the opioids because we know what the opioids are doing. So this is an alternative to opioids. And there is, with the right plan, cannabis can actually wean you off of opioids. So this isn't about partying, this isn't about getting stoned on the street, this is medicine we're talking about. So a part of the whole consultation that I do with patients is explaining to them the different types of medicine, the different types of administration, because it's not always about smoking. Yeah, we do have edibles, but you know what? Though they don't come in packages that look like Oreos. All of those Oreos and Skittles and this and that, those are all black market products, which are going to exist whether you opt in or out, they're still there. So it's better to give the people a safe option. Our medicine comes in child safety packages, just like anything you would get from CVS. But half of our patients can't even get the gummies open. They call us and ask us. So I just want to say that, I'm sorry, I'm straying from my lip speech here. But I just want you to know, that that's what it's about. So the most rewarding part of my job is after you've recommended someone some medication and they come back to you and they tell you, you've given me my life back. I can return to work. I can play with my kids. That's the most rewarding part. And that's what really drives me in the industry. This is a medicine that can make a difference. It's like I said, it's not just about partying. And I've always been an advocate for natural medicines. 25 years ago, when I was in university, I was at the table with NORML because that's how passionate I am about this. But my job, again, is not simply just to sell cannabis to a patient. More importantly, I am trained in the science of cannabis. Literally, I've taken classes. This isn't just, hey, this is what's going to work. This is going to get you high. It's way more than that. So I can educate the users on what they're taking them and help them find the product that best suits their needs. I walk the patients through it to see if it's helping, how they feel, and just to make sure that they're using it safely and responsibly. And it's part of my job. I'm required to keep up to date on New York State's regulation and security standards. If you come in my dispensary and I hear you on the phone talking to your buddy about what they want, I send you out. I won't even dispense to you. It's much more strict than you think. So those, I know the consequences of violating those standards that are set by the state, and frankly, additional compliance protocols set by my employer. As mentioned, it's a good union job, and I'm not trying to lose that job just so someone can get something for their friend. And I've been a member of Local 338 since 2020, and being in a union has given me affordable, quality medical pay coverage, paid time off, retirement benefits, and access to a number of different crucial on-the-job protections that I would normally have. I have guaranteed wages in the contract, and I do make a living wage. And with the support of my union, Local 338, I, along with hundreds of workers in the medical cannabis industry, have been relief into a career. And I want workers in the adult use industry to have the same opportunities I have. This is a job I can depend on to support myself. However, if municipalities decide to opt out, workers and cannabis users across New York are going to feel the repercussions. New York State has created a pathway for consumers to legally do this. Again, as mentioned, whether you opt in or out, it's not going to stop. The black market continues to thrive everywhere. So it's better to give a safe option to everyone. Legalize it, set the standards, make it safe, just like alcohol and opioids. They're prescribed, they're out there. It can be the same with cannabis. By opting in, you're bringing jobs and business to your community. And it's true. Revive your neighborhood by bringing something like this and receive answers from employees. If you buy cannabis from the black market, no one's going to educate you. And also, I didn't mention earlier, there's lots of products that will relieve your pain or whatever issues you have that do not give you a psychoactive effect. So that's something that everyone needs to be very aware of as well. So I would recommend that when you're making decisions about zoning, to consider the safety of workers and customers, particularly in recognizing that we're handling a high profitable product and working with cash. So dispensaries should not be isolated away from traffic over in a dark corner either. I recognize that many have a preconceived idea of what it's like to work in a dispensary or who's working in a dispensary. As you can see, I'm mature, I'm educated. The legalization of adult use cannabis, people need to have access to dispensaries staffed with well-trained, unionized workers who can educate them about cannabis and what products might be right for them. Because the reality is, people who want cannabis will find a way to purchase it. Opting out only means that the village of Valley Stream will lose out on the opportunity for new jobs and the localized spending of those workers. I hope you'll vote against opting out and provide workers the opportunity to have a secure job in a growing industry.
Thank you.
Good evening, no worry, I'm not gonna open my laptop, I just have to bring it forward. My name is Christina Arroyo, I live in Gibson Boulevard, Valley Stream. And can I ask a question and then go with my comment, because I'm a little bit confused.
Sure.
In the agenda, mandatory referendum,
Right.
does that mean you already opt out? That that's already what you decided to go with?
Well, that's what these two local laws state. Yes.
Yes, so basically our choices right now, you've already decided, we're gonna opt out, right? We're not gonna decide to opt in. Is that true or no?
Correct. It could be voted down.
Okay, so I am not a cannabis expert. I don't even smoke. And yet I have not achieved the goals that I've wanted in life, so drugs aren't the only thing that keeps me from doing that. But I am an educator. I have studied organizational systems. I have studied leadership and organizational justice. I have taught at several universities. And I have done the science and I've been a researcher. And I know that if anybody tells you, oh, well, Google it, or anybody can cherry pick data, if you Google something, you will find exactly what you want to read. So what I would say is go with the experts, go with the people who know, who have been in the world and who have done this for a long time and who are educated with it. Now, there's been a lot of fear mongering here regarding cannabis, attaching certain stigmas to it. Based on what I've read from the experts, there's a lot of stuff that you can refute. I mean, if I tell you, did you know that the popularity in Nick Cage movies is directly correlated with children drowning? It's correlated, but it doesn't mean that one causes the other. So anybody can take any case and say, well, they were high while they were driving on marijuana, on cannabis. That might not have been the problem. You never know. So you have to look at the greater patterns. But as I said, I'm not an expert, and that would take a long time for me to learn. And I know, like you guys as elected officials, you can't be experts on everything. And we can't expect you to be that. So that is something that is preposterous. However, I can expect you to listen to the experts, right? And if you do decide to opt out, what I would say is, allow the people to vote, right? Give us the voice to be able to do this. Because somebody might think that marijuana is a gate, that cannabis is a gate. I don't think it is. And I've heard a lot of experts say it's not. Somebody might think that cannabis, cannabis leads to greater car crashes or whatever. Whatever they want to think, they can think. But at least they have a voice and they can take that voice and those thoughts and go vote. So I petition you guys, right, to go for the mandatory referendum. Don't put a stumbling block in front of our voices, making it harder for us to express what we want. I'm sure a lot of people here don't want it, and I'm sure a lot of people do. Most of the time when I came to the meetings in the past 4 months, most people wanted it. They mostly did. But also I can't expect you guys to decipher what your community wants only from the few people that showed up in 4 months and the people who are here right now, as people have other things to do, they might have other obstacles. So I don't know, right, if cannabis industry will be a good investment in Valley Stream. But what I do know that is a good investment is investing in exercising democracy and not put stumbling blocks in front of it. That will always pan out for you guys. That is a responsible thing to do as elected officials. So that's what I request of you guys, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, my name is Jessica Nason. I live at 10 Sloan Drive South. I also own and operate Wake Day Cafe, which is located on 103 Rockaway Avenue. So I'm here just to say that I'm an advocate for cannabis and for you guys deciding to opt in for marijuana sales. First and foremost, I'm a business owner on Rockaway Avenue. I've been here for about 3 years, and we sell hemp cannabis, which is legalized in New York State. We haven't had any children in any capacity ever try to come into our business and purchase any of our CBD products. Instead, we have helped tons of elderly people that are in pain. We have helped people wean off of opioids as well. Like the union worker had said earlier, you can use a cocktail of cannabinoids such as CBN, CBG, CBD that'll help to wean you off of opioids. Speaking from experience, I started using cannabis at 16 years old, which is typically a very young age, but I have went on to be very successful. I attended medical school for 2 semesters. I decided to drop out because of a terrible car accident, which led me to get addicted to opioids. I in turn used cannabis, CBD, CBN, CBD, like I said earlier, to wean me off of those same opioids, and then I decided to open up Wake and Bake Cafe. That's my own personal story. An amazing thing, not to mention the amount of taxes that Valley Stream would be able to allocate to schools to increase safety precautions and protections in the neighborhood. Also, according to Leafly, communities that have allowed recreational marijuana sales have seen an influx of taxes that can be allocated, like I said before, to schools. Also, as far as the medicinal benefits of cannabis, there's been a decrease in opioid dispensaries have been allowed. But no one is arguing the use of prescribed medications. Instead, we're here advocating for responsible sales and use and operations of medicinal marijuana here. Cannabis usage can help with addiction, especially usage of special cannabinoids, like I said before, CBN and CBG. Meanwhile, the result of banning cannabis stores and dispensaries from communities often has the unintentional effect of propping up the local Black market and allowing illegal sales in the neighborhood, which is happening already. Also, according to Leafly, property values near cannabis outlets generally are not affected, and in some areas tend to increase by 6 to 8%. I'm here to suggest to the board that you guys opt in for allowing marijuana sales into the community, because I do believe that it would be a great opportunity for Valley Stream to thrive in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The one letter we had submitted to be read into the public record, please.
This letter is from Don Becker, Wharton Avenue. I have lived in Valley Stream for 18 years and have seen a deep decline in the village's retail structure. When I moved here, Rockaway Avenue was part of a bustling downtown. And while things have improved, a lot of families up and down the street. Opting out of possible tax streams for the village seems foolish. Even more so given from the town of Hempstead and neighboring villages have already done so. Opting in and allowing safe controlled sale of marijuana will provide the village with something no place else in Nassau has. A chance to turn negatives of legalization into a positive. I firmly believe that a number of my fellow residents are asking to opt out and attempt to put the genie back in the bottle. They smell marijuana smoke more than they did before it was legalized this spring. And think that if the village opts out, things will go back to the way they were when it was still illegal. Nothing could be further from the truth. Legal marijuana is here. We need to accept that, even if we don't agree with it. Opting out is just going to cause any where New York City has opted in. The tax revenue will go to New York City, not to Valley Stream. Opting out won't stop the continued illegal sales of marijuana in the village, thus exposing anyone who wants to consume to unregulated marijuana, potentially laced with dangerous chemicals. Even as someone who does not smoke marijuana, I am in favor of the village opting in to allow the sale of it. I ask the board to do what the town of Hempstead has failed to do before thinking.
Also, Anthony, we have a Zoom comment.
Yes, I will. Rebecca, I will have to unmute you.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me? Hi, good evening. Okay, okay, my name is Rebecca Vargas. I live at 11 Hancock Place. I'm urging the board to opt out tonight. The potential financial benefits of opting in do not outweigh the negative consequences for residents of this village. I have a young child and we live in a commercial zone with many homes in the area, and I'm really dreading the possibility of a dispensary opening up near my home. My concerns are copious smoking outside of dispensaries, littering, and an increase in criminality like robberies and muggings. I am also concerned about people smoking and driving impaired, which, yes, has been mentioned, already occurs with alcohol, but why compound the problem by making another mind-altering substance widely available in our community? From what I understand, police patrols will not be increased around dispensaries and lounges. And if opting in turns out to be a terrible decision, I fear that we will not be able to put this genie back in the bottle. And residents, especially the residents who live near these businesses, will have no recourse at all. So I urge the board to opt out. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comments from the public? Good evening.
Hi, Al Chase, East Melrose Street. I believe that a number of people are missing the point, whether you like it or not. Marijuana or cannabis. I have no issue with the recreational use of cannabis. What I do have issue with is the establishment of dispensaries in Valley Stream. As Judge Bogles and others have said, no municipality or town in Nassau County has opted in. Many have opted out. Why? Because they have incomplete information. The state has not issued a complete set of information at this point. Unless you have a complete set of information, know what you're getting into, I would say you should probably opt out. Let's take an example. Let's assume that a business opens up a cannabis dispensary and it has a volume of $5 million. This business that you have on Rockaway Avenue, no doubt about it. The truth is the average dispensary generates about $1 million. So let's say it's $5 million. The village would see tax increase of $150,000 based on that. $150,000 on a budget of $41 million. Do you really need that $150,000? Aren't there places on that to get that $150,000? So, you know, you're not getting all that much money, and that's looking at the gross revenue you would get. As the woman on Zoom just said, what about the downsides? What about the increased litter? What about other issues that may come up? That's going to be reduced. You're not going to get $150,000. So that's one thing. You know, I would also say, you know, people can go to other places to get it. Why do we have to be the place to get marijuana or to get cannabis? People, as was said too, people can go 5 minutes into Rosedale and get it. That's fine. Why do we have to be the ones? We don't have, I know we have empty buildings on Rockaway Avenue. The solution is not a cannabis dispensary. The solution is better thinking outside of the box to help bring businesses into the community. So for me, the issue is NIMBY, not in my backyard. I've seen this village make many bad decisions and few good ones. And this is not going to be one of the good ones. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Randy Thompson, 27 Astor Place, lifelong Valley Streamer. Everybody's made great valid points, great points of passion on this issue. I'm not here for that. I do agree to opt out, and I'll just apply it in the hall monitor maximum. What's the rush? You do have a timeline for an opt-out, but you do not have a timeline for an opt-in. Village Valley Stream, really, with all due respect to this esteemed board and to my fellow residents, we're really not in a position to be pioneering in any shape or form of this type of magnitude. We are the gateway to Long Island. When people first come from the city, the two major east-west thoroughfares through here, first place they hit is Valley Stream. We become the pioneers in this. We own it. And you can have truth and facts to the end of the day, but perception is a big and powerful thing. And this is a village we want to buy homes in and to do business in. And if we fail the experiment of implementing cannabis sales, regardless of what the facts were, people are going to perceive us as a failure. And like I said, without there being a rush to get into this, I think that fact should stand as one of the most valid points of postponing this opting in option. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, I'm Kat Jenkins, I'm at 148 East New York, and I promise I'm quick. I'm just saying, I've been to all the other meetings, and it was mostly pro, and so now being here to hear all this anti is fine, but you've heard all of the pro sides mostly before. And it's just feel that I know you're gonna opt out. We all know, it's fine, but at least like Christina's saying, give us the opportunity to have a referendum to vote that no one is here raging about, and no one's upset about. So to have a place come in that's regulated and that we trust and that has good employees and people like the woman that spoke earlier, I look forward to that, and I'd rather have that to build revenue or even just to bring people to Valley Stream finally, instead of some of the stuff we have now that isn't so great. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Sir?
Hello, my name is Joe Tipo. I live at 12 Valley Stream, lifelong Valley Stream, one way or the other. Not one. Is this the best we can do? You want to revitalize Rockaway Avenue on marijuana sales? Are you kidding me? We have a village just a couple of towns away. You may have heard of it, Rockville Center. Now bustling Rockville Center is. People go to Rockville Center for entertainment, for restaurants. There's all kinds of ways that we can revitalize the avenue. That we're not even talking about tonight. Marijuana, damn thing we should be doing to revitalize Valley Stream. What we should be doing is we should be looking at a place like Rockville Center to get clubs, businesses, entertainment. That's what people will come to Valley Stream for. That's what we should be building the future of Valley Stream on. Not marijuana. There's all kinds of ancillary also costs that we don't even know about with respect to marijuana. The strains on law enforcement, strains on treatment centers. You don't talk about, so yeah, there might be some ancillary financial benefit, but we don't know what the costs are going to be on the other end. We don't know. And damn it, what is the rush? We can always opt in, okay? But once we do, we're done. We really want Valley Stream to have that reputation. We really want to legitimize that and give it the imprimatur of legitimacy. I don't think so. I urge the board to opt out of this. We do not need it here.
Linda Dardis on number 1 South Franklin Avenue, Valley Stream. I really don't have a whole lot to say. I think it's good that everyone has a voice and says, you know, came here, but I think people are missing the point. They've already opted out. You have two choices, either a mandatory referendum or you have to, people have to go around and get signatures on a petition. That's it.
Maybe you just have to address the.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. But the point is, like, nobody, if you made a decision, and people are saying, oh, you have to opt out. They are opting out. They already are. So that's all I wanted to say, that the two choices, people are kind of missing the boat about what is in front of you to vote for tonight. That's all I wanted to clarify.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Further comments from the public? Sir. We have.
Yeah.
All right, so after this gentleman, no, go ahead, come on, after this.
Hello, everybody. My name is Carmine Fiore, 11 Old Farm Road. Like some other people said, a lot of the facts being thrown up here are incorrect. Okay, a lot of people are saying, let's not rush into it. Let's opt out. It goes up back in at a later date. A lot of people are saying about marketing. The spirit of the MRTA gives social equity applicants a chance at the American dream. Here's the forte. That's it. All right, do social equity candidates are they allowed to build a business in the village of Valley Stream? Because the MRTA says social equity a lot of times. All right, the spirit of the MRTA states that these social equity applicants, persons who have been convicted of crimes, people of color, veterans, minorities, these are the people who have priority preferences for the application process through the state, through the Office of Cannabis Management. All right, yes, the Office of Cannabis Management, 31st to opt in or opt out. Then after that, it also gives the villages a lot of power and safeguards to how you want to cater to the cannabis industry in your village. If you want to just have one dispensary and one consumption lounge in the village of Valley Stream, if that's what you set, that is the standard for the village of Valley Stream. That's it. You guys have the power. All right. The cannabis industry is set to expect 60,000 jobs to come into New York State. All right, at the heels of the pandemic, when everyone was laid off, when no one was working, when people were relying on unemployment, and people are just getting back to work, with bills that mounted up over 12, 14 months of just being in quarantine, and now people are just getting back to work. This industry is willing to give 60,000 jobs, 60,000 families a shot at the American dream. All right, people say, oh, well, just opt out, you can opt in. All right, the Office of Cannabis Management is set to not continuously allow applications consistently. All right, meaning, let's set a number, let's say a hypothetical number, they repeat, 250 applications. Once they set and administer 250 applications, the application process is closed. Meaning if you wanted to opt in at that point, that's great, but no one has any licenses now because they already found properties in our states. So how long is it going to be until the licensure process opens up again? We don't know. It could be a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years. So you're saying, oh, we can always opt in the future. There's going to be a 5 to 10 year window where you won't have any licenses being handed out after the first initial wave. All right, so that's giving your village an opportunity to be the spearhead for the cannabis industry in New York. All right, the village has an opportunity to make a lot of money. I try not to discuss the amount of money that the villages plan on making, because in the end, money's not gonna be the deciding factor of whether the town opts in or out, all right? But what is a deciding factor is, do you guys want to give business owners, small business owners like me and other people, a chance at the American dream? All right, I'm a potential cannabis adult use retail business owner. All right, my business name is Ivy Botanicals. I have a meeting with local 338 on Wednesday. I'll talk to you then. You know, regarding a positive labor agreement with the employees I plan to have. Because I want to make sure that my employees don't just make $18 to $22 an hour. I want to make sure they make enough per hour to live, to enough to make sure that your kids have Christmas gifts. All right, this year, Ivy Botanicals, my company, without even making $1 revenue, we helped feed 3 families and 15 people. Because that's what the type of businesses that you will invite into the Village of Valley Stream. Businesses that want to give back to the community. When you think of a cannabis business owner, a lot of people think about the monopoly man. All right, that little guy with all the money in his pocket. That's not what it is. The business owners of the cannabis industry is what you see here. These are the people who you're saying no to when you say no to retail sales, no to consumption levels. All right, I thank you guys for your time, but on a quick, just raise your hands.
Sir.
No, I'm not doing that. All right.
Address your comments to the board.
Thank you for your time.
Comments from the public. Oh, Zoom, I'm sorry.
Yes, so Mikey, I will have to unmute you.
You guys hear me?
Yes.
Great. Yeah, so I'm Mike Villanueva, I live at 322 West Valley Stream Boulevard. I would like to encourage the board to opt in for the retail sales of cannabis, mostly because I believe that it will revitalize our downtown spaces. And one thing I do want to note, if we opt in, we will be the first village in Nassau County to have retail sales. That means we will have people from all over, not only the county, but Queens and Brooklyn coming into Valley Stream, especially as one gentleman said, we have 2 major highways that go through here coming from Queens and Brooklyn. The first town they hit coming into Long Island is Valley Stream. So we will be able to encounter that population to come into our community to be able to purchase cannabis. And not only that, from allowing cannabis use, we may have other businesses that might pop up next to these stores. Could be bakers, could be restaurants. These people need a place to go to spend their money. That's what we're there for. And another thing I want to point, I'm actually calling in, I'm on vacation from California. I just went to a dispensary yesterday. The businesses surrounding the dispensary were 5-star restaurants in like a 10 business plaza. And they have 1 cannabis dispensary. Is that ruining that town? I don't believe so. But I just want to leave the public with that idea. Thank you.
Mike, I believe we've lost you.
Hello, do you guys hear me?
Now I can.
Oh, okay, but.
We heard most of it, just at the very end, you started breaking up.
I forgot what I was saying, but yeah, I'm into opting in. I'm actually in California right now, and I went to a dispensary yesterday. The plaza where the dispensary is located in, all the businesses are 5-star restaurants, and there's like a boba shop. So, like we could be able to bring these type of businesses in. We could have restaurants next to cannabis shops. We could have boutique shops next to these cannabis shops. The fact of the matter is, the cannabis shops will bring people to our town, and they'll be able to spend their money here. And that's why I'm here for opting. Hello.
Okay, well, I think we heard what you said, Mike. Further comments from the public?
Good evening, generosity. The fear. I do. A lot of us are around the same age, and we kind of grew up with cannabis is really bad, while still extolling the virtues of alcohol. And we know how that turned out. So I just want to say things change, and I hope people will look at this with an open mind and understand that it's not always what you think it is. And as Christina did say before, you know, we don't expect everybody to be experts, but we do expect people to listen. A woman who works in the dispensary, she was just great. And I learned a lot tonight. I was a little bit on the fence, but I don't think I am anymore, because I kept my mind open, and I'm just hoping others do that as well. Thank you. So.
Good evening.
Thanks for holding this. Shout out to my man.
Name and address.
Oh, Adam Ali, 1224 Roosevelt, right there, Jersey. She talks about cannabis a lot. Shout out to my man. Did you, sorry, I forgot your name, so you're my man now, so I'm just calling you that. Did you send an MRTA? Did you guys read the MRTA? Did you guys read it? Yes! All right, cool. So I guess I don't have to speak too much about that. So since you guys read a lot about it and learned a lot, you guys heard from lovely people here tonight. And this came up to say, I went to a lot of these meetings as well, and you know, yes, pretty much a lot of people opted out. A lot of municipalities have opted out. You know, I'm really out here for the W today. Yes, I'd like to open a cannabis business, but you know, it's okay if it's not in Valley Stream. But you know, I do live here, and it's really awesome when it's a Friday night and I can walk down the street to the place across the street from the railroad and get a 6-pack and then come back to the house and just walk back. It'd be pretty sick if I can just get cannabis there one day. It'd just be awesome. But you can. And I really think it would be cool, what Christina suggested. RTA. So you guys understand, there's a lot of rules in there. It's a highly regulated industry. That's all I'm gonna say about that. So you can fear not of the chicks on where they get you smacked. Like this is not gonna happen anymore if there's an illegal cannabis out there. But you guys already know that you read the RTA. So I just would like to say, if you put it to the vote, then it's really up to the people to decide, and I think that would be cool. And it would be, you know, it would be nice to have that, and just other places did it, and well, one of the places did, and that was Riverhead, I believe, right? But you know, and a couple have not. So, and it's up to the people. And you know, I'm a relatively new resident here. I mean, my sister's been living here for a minute, so I don't have that legacy, but you know, I really, again, like I said, I hope my nephews and stuff, and my sister and family and the dog, you know, could live well, and you know, it would be cool to have B2C cannabis businesses here. Just because you can't go to the factory or you can't go to a cultivation site to get cannabis. But yeah, the tax revenue would be great, but I feel like it's more at this point, like what the other side has said. You could totally wait and opt out, but you will be looking at the revenue, but I think it's less so about that and more so about like the amnesty aspect of it, the social aspect of it. And I think it would look cool. I think it would, you know, as a young hip millennial, I think it would be pretty sick if that one town that I pass before I go to Fire Island or whenever I'm driving to Bridgeville or whatever, you know, that place, you know, they opted into cannabis, Valley Stream. It's like, live there, cool people live there, or I don't know, hopefully that I think that'll go away. And honestly, the way that starts to go away is, you know, towns like and villages like this take the steps in a positive direction, because, yeah, like people said, no places in Nassau have opted in, because I'm pretty sure that all of a sudden, they can just go down the street to Queens. You keep saying, you go down the street Queens, go down the street Queens, where does that end? I guess it ends in something, or Babylon, or wherever it ended, but Babylon, that's where they opted in. But I'm sorry, I'm rambling now, but thanks a lot, and I think it's cool you guys are at the MRTA, I think that's awesome, I really, really appreciate that. And if you don't opt in now, or don't let us vote, you know, that would suck, at least just the vote. For the peace of mind, like, what do all of the people over here do, think of it on an official capacity? But, yeah, thank you, have a great night, shout out my man, thank you for telling people that stuff, thank you.
Evening, Charlie Alley, 124 Roosevelt Avenue, Midtown Derby. I think you guys, as a resident, yes, everybody else has opted out. They didn't give the people to say. You guys are being super progressive, listening to us. I take the W, Adam and I will take the W for you guys reading the MRTA. That was a huge step. So you obviously know that it is super regulated. You guys can shape what it looks like here. But it would be super progressive and to be the first one or the leaders to say, yes, we are going to give the people, the citizens, the right to vote. Give us that say is exercising your power and showing us how and move in the right direction. Yes, we should be leaders in that. And we have an amazing school system that we're trying to work on and make better. Revenue can come into this town to help pay for that, as you've read in the MRTA. The law has been written, it needs to be interpreted, so that's what we're waiting for. In that time, if that's what we're waiting for, give us the vote. Otherwise, then I'm gonna have to do more things in the day, knocking doors, to get the votes, to hold you guys accountable and give us that election day. But if you give us the right vote at this time, at least we see that you guys are doing the right thing by the citizens of this neighborhood. And we can work together. That is what progression looks like. So thank you for holding this. Thank you for being super open for reading the MRTA and for giving us a voice and not giving us just the 3 minutes that everybody else was giving us. So yes, so please just give us the vote and make it that much easier. Thank you.
Further comments from the public? Sir?
Scott Cleveland, King's Carpenter Television, I had to come over here. I'm kind of opt out of. Marijuana is legal, we all know that. What I'm against is these retail establishments, you know, just like I don't want to see a town full of bars, liquor stores, smoke shops, casinos. Any place, you know, marijuana isn't a mind-altering substance, right? So I put it in the same category as alcohol. I can already see not great things happening, but not so great things happening outside. Dispensaries, it's going to be recreational marijuana too. Plus, the store also has lounges. Now, a lounge is a place where you don't hang out and smoke. So either of these, I would feel that it's going to be great. Just like I worked as a paramedic for 25 years in New York City. Only the night shift at 2 in the morning. I'm not getting called to a restaurant and called to outside liquor store, outside a club, outside wherever you're drinking, smoking, or you could smoke, drink, do drugs. And now it always smells like marijuana too.
I just want to put my opinion out there. Plus, now we get calls for people doing marijuana. Since marijuana is so, powerful. You have a 22-year-old, which is perfectly legal for him to smoke. But if he's smoking one of those high potency variants, his heart's jumping out of his chest. He didn't go to get a medical prescription. It's recreational now. You just buy it. So on the ambulance now, you do get phone calls, for people not overdosing, overdoing the marijuana, especially the edibles. They just keep eating them until they get high. But they don't get high until they eat too much of it. So that's not a problem with what we're talking about here. So for this town where I have two small kids in the school system, yeah, I don't need another place where things that are untoward gonna happen outside at night or during the week or whatever. So that's what I'm saying. So opt out and make it a permissive referendum. Let people go out and get the signatures if everybody wants the vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Public? Sir?
Fred Beezer, 91 Flower Road. I would like to urge the board to have a mandatory referendum. It would just save a lot of legwork. I don't think it would be fair to have people having to knock door to door during this time when a mask mandate was just reinstated. I think it would be a great show of engagement with your community to actually make it easier for this type of democracy to occur. And also it would just further things in terms of social awareness and like education. There's been a lot of equating cannabis to alcohol. And I think that's unfair to people who just smoke for anxiety and then they're functional. People who have cancer and they can't eat, they can't sleep, and they just smoke to go about their day. And you wouldn't even know whether or not they're high. People who are extremely depressed or have PTSD, they don't have access to anything else besides prescription drugs like opioids, which are detrimental and destroy their lives. People all over Valley Stream have been dropping like flies in the past decade from opioid use. And I think it would just speed things up to have a mandatory referendum so that we wouldn't have to go and get the 5,000 votes. But it would happen. It would happen pretty quickly. Sorry, there's a lot of that's.
Thank you. Further comments from the public, sir?
Yep.
I haven't prepared anything.
David.
Peter Panzarino, 70 Bismarck Avenue, Valley Stream. I haven't prepared anything, but I can speak from 70 years of experience. I've seen the growth of marijuana from when I was in high school. We were told at that time, you do it and you're hooked on marijuana. Like, it's true. So a lot of what these people are saying are fine about that. But I just don't want to see kids going to school stoned out of their minds. I spoke to a young Colorado, and she told me, so I said, come clean with me. Did you go into one of those dispensaries? And said, well, why is everybody asking me that? I said, did you? And she said, yes. I said, did you try anything? She said, I tried a brownie. And she said, after I ate the brownie, I couldn't even walk up the stairs. That is how strong the stuff is now. So I am not in favor of this. I don't know if I mentioned, my family's been here in Valley Stream since 1952. This has been a great place to grow up. Just because the state passes that marijuana is now legal, it doesn't mean it's a great idea. They passed the no bail law. That definitely was not a great idea, as we know. So just because they're passing laws, it doesn't mean that we need to accept it in this town. I've spoken to some people that I know do smoke. And I said to them, if they open up dispensaries, would you go there? And they said, no, it would be more expensive. We'd be paying more taxes, you know, than who I buy from now. So they weren't even planning to go in there. And I'm sure that all of these people that smoke here have their own places where they buy it from. Into Valley Stream, you know, to smoke that and, you know, eat a brownie as soon as they get to their car. So, and then drive our streets. So as I said, I didn't prepare anything. I just wanted to say something to balance off the sides over here. Thank you.
Further comments from the public? All right, ladies and gentlemen, what's going to happen, just so you're aware, we're going to have the trustees vote on local law J, which is the permissive referendum. And before we move forward on that, I just do want to say I appreciate everyone's decorum. And once we vote, the vote's over, we're going to move on to our regular agenda, which you're welcome to stay for that as well. But the discussion, unless anyone else has further comment on the cannabis, is ended. All right, before the hearing is closed, can we read the resolution into the minutes and take a vote?
Resolution 223-21, adopt local law 10-2021.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
No.
Trustee Tuffarelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas.
Yes.
Trustee Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Fair.
Yes. I need a motion to close public hearing number 2.
So move.
Second. Roll call. Council, can you just advise me now on the correct proceeding for local law letter K, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that would have been the mandatory referendum, and it's now academic, Mayor. It literally evaporates into the ether, as it were. The law that we've now adopted, subject to the permissive.
That's not what we were instructed, council. I asked that question.
I was concerned about the order that we received because of exactly what you just said. And I was advised that it would not happen as you just stated. And I understand you're a very good lawyer and you're probably right, which is why I raised the issue. But I just want you to know that we did discuss this at the last meeting and came to the conclusion that we could continue with the second vote in light of the fact that we were likely to approve the first one anyway.
The answer to the question, I repeat, but you can control how you do it yourselves as a board, is that the second vote is academic. You passed the law, which law said. So nothing can supersede it as a practical proposition. Nothing can supersede it.
Why not? Why can't a vote of local law to mandate a mandatory referendum?
If you have 5 on the board who vote for it after having just passed the permissive, you're saying we're going to negate, no, let me finish. Negate that by passing a mandatory referendum.
I think we can give the board the opportunity.
It should not be done that way, but again, it's the call of the board if they want to do it. It's an exercise of futility, but.
My point is that 2 board members would like to have the vote. I assume.
Well, they could, in theory, I can't stop them from introducing and then calling for a vote. I can't stop them if you permit them to do it.
Of
Just
course,
say it's academic.
they're my colleagues.
No problem. So you want to deal with, then as a practical proposition, it would be public hearing number 3.
Correct, and that's local law K.
That is correct, and that would involve superseding what you just did by permitting a mandatory referendum, correct?
If it passed.
If it passes, okay. Understand, I think it's academic, I don't think it should be done, but you're at liberty to do it.
Russell, would you like to move the resolution?
To open the public hearing and
Well, in theory, you would have the public
Well, the
hearing
public hearing's
again,
over.
but you could,
Yeah,
having
look.
heard it all. You want to hear the public hearing all over again?
Well, I think we have to open the public. I don't know if the public would speak, but I was certainly prepared to speak on the mandatory referendum, whereas I wasn't prepared to speak on the permissive referendum.
Well, trustee Grasso, just like we always do, when I say comments from the board, comments from the public, you absolutely would have the right.
No, I understand. I was reserving my comments for the.
Oh, no, that's fine. So you want to move the resolution and we'll have opportunity to speak?
Yes, let's motion to approve local law K.
Trustee Thomas, comments from the board?
Yes. So permitted. There's a, thank you, Mayor. There's no expression from the world of diplomacy that some politicians never miss the opportunity to miss an opportunity. Tonight, our cup runneth over, and we are twice blessed in the village of Valley Stream with opportunities. As our cultural norms shift and our political and legal norms scramble to keep up, New York State has legalized the cultivation, sale, distribution, and consumption of cannabis. As part of that effort, they have, for better or worse, thrown the option to local communities as to how cannabis is to be sold retail and consumed within those municipalities. To opt in and establish a framework as to how that would happen in Valley Stream would permit the village to be the financial beneficiary of that commerce. To opt out means our residents will not see any financial benefit of that rapidly growing market. To be sure, cannabis is currently sold in Valley Stream. To even the most casual observer, cannabis is most certainly consumed in Valley Stream. By opting out, those practices will remain illicit and unregulated. And the only financial beneficiaries will be dealers and cartels. By opting out, our community will see all the problems and challenges and none of the benefits. Opting out is indeed missing an opportunity. But because fortune smiles so warmly on our village, we have a second opportunity, if not to provide our community's legislation, to at least award them the consolation prize of democracy. While the board may not at this time be prepared to make a commitment to the state legislation, we are afforded an opportunity to give our residents a voice in the matter. New York State legislation, which permits the legal cultivation, sale, distribution, and consumption of cannabis, also allows those local governments to put the issue before the people. Whatever one's feelings about cannabis are, and reasonable people can disagree on the matter, I think a strong statement in support of open and accessible democracy is something we can all agree. We can take the opportunity to listen to our residents on this matter. That's why I strongly encourage my colleagues on the board their voice. We should vote to make it easy for them to communicate with us. We should not be building hurdles to democracy. We should vote to tear them down. If we must disagree on gaining the benefits of expanding cannabis use to Valley Stream, let's not disagree on expanding democracy in Valley Stream. Thank you.
Any comments from the board? Roll call. Oh, sorry.
That stating this infinite wisdom did see fit to allow an opportunity for the public to vote either way.
with a permissive referendum, I'm not sure why you should, and if they do have a permissive referendum as part of the law, that is the law.
That is the law, exactly the limit on the law.
Right, but the law still stands. The law is that
Permissive, yeah.
people can vote
Only permissive.
through a petitioning process, permissive referendum,
Yes,
which is what I'm describing.
okay,
Agreed?
yes.
So my view is that people should have the right to vote, and while I did vote yes in the first law, which would mean that we opt out with permissive referendum, I feel more strongly that people should have a real right to vote and that it should be a mandatory. I've listened to very compelling arguments. It's hard for me to speak while you're shaking your head.
I don't know whether a mandatory was optional under the law, but you guys gotta do what you want. I've looked at the statute too, but go ahead.
Yeah, well, what we're allowed to do is to invoke a mandatory
I
referendum.
don't think so, but go ahead.
I didn't expect this kind of.
Let the people vote.
Back and forth. Relax. My view is that we can't do this, and I say that for the record again, that I believe we can allow for a mandatory referendum. And I believe that it would be, if you exercise democracy, we don't get that many opportunities that allow for direct democracy. We actually heard about their own personal views, and that's fine. Everyone should feel strongly about their views. But the point is that it makes it very difficult for an elected official to just reach a decision just by decree. And so it would be actually really helpful for me personally if people would weigh in on this, because it reshapes the village either way. If we allow it,
No, don't
we're
touch
gonna
it.
attract the village, and I do believe that people who live here have the right to say how their village looks. Agree or disagree, everyone should have a right to participate in a vote that's significant. And so that is why I am in favor of what I believe is a allowable opportunity, which is to allow a mandatory referendum. Now, I think a permissive referendum, I think we shouldn't lose sight of the fact that those who are in favor of this still have an opportunity. It is a difficult one, it is a hard ball, but it is still an opportunity, and the state did permit this to happen. Again, I don't think I spoke much while other people were speaking, but I feel like I get a lot of feedback as I'm speaking. As I was respectful to everyone else, and I heard it would be nice if people were return the favor. And so basically, I'll just sum it up by saying my view is that I think we should seek a mandatory referendum, because regardless of what I may think about this process and what's possible in the way stream, I think it's more important that people have a say, a direct say, without any hurdles to decide the way forward. Thank you.
Board.
Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas.
Yes.
Trustee Tuffarelli.
No.
Trustee Wright.
No.
Mayor Fair.
No. And a motion to close public hearing number 3?
Motion to close.
Second.
Second. Roll call.
Trustee Tuffarelli. Yes. Trustee Thomas.
Yes.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Fair.
Yes. Fine, at this time, we're going to move into our regular scheduled meeting.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, Alan, roll on. Thank you.
Come now, take my key. There are two of you. I guess one of you can move my car out of the way. Two of you. Have it your way. Wait until I'm done. Have it your way. Wait until I'm done. If it was this complicated, you should have done it before dinner.
How's it going?
It's going all right. How's it going for you?
Am I in the right place for the Village Valley stream or not?
Pledge allegiance, we're going to call the regular meeting to order.
When does this law go into effect?
We have 45 days on the permission. In other words, the numbers have to come in within 45 days, and then it's covered by Article 9.
Right. So the 45 days. Law.
You adopted it tonight. We really should be-
So calling the regular meeting to order at 8:58, roll call.
Trustee Toffarelli.
Yeah.
Trustee Thomas. Here. Trustee Grasso.
Present.
Trustee Wright.
Here.
Mayor Fair.
Here.
Resolution 224-21 minutes.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Toffarelli. Yes. Trustee Thomas.
Yes.
Trustee Wright.
Yes.
Resolution 225-21 tax cert settlements.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Comments from the board? Comments from the public? Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Toffarelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas.
Yes.
Trustee Wright.
Yes.
Resolution 226-21 official intent reimbursement of certain costs from proceeds of tax exempt bonds.
Move the resolution. Second.
Comments from the board? Comments from the public? Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Toffarelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas.
Yes.
Trustee Wright.
Yes.
Resolution 227-21 Village of Valley Stream Community Capital System Program, grant number 3178.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Second.
Comments from the board? Comments from the public? Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Toffarelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas.
Yes.
Trustee Wright.
Yes.
Resolution 228-21 approved contracts and use agreements.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Comments from the board? Comments from the public? Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Toffarelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas.
Yes.
Trustee Wright.
Yes.
Trustee Wright.
Yes.
Resolution 229-21 claim settlements.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Comments from the board? Comments from the public? Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Toffarelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas.
Yes.
Trustee Wright.
Yes.
Resolution 230-21 appearance ticket officer.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Comments from the board? Comments from the public?
Trustee Wright.
Yes.
Bueller.
What? What's the matter? What am I doing?
Trustee Wright.
Yes. Yes.
Resolution 231-21 unit 2 contract amendment.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Comments from the board? Comments from the public? Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Toffarelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas.
Yes.
Trustee Wright.
Yes.
Resolution 232-21 unit 2 appointments.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Comments from the board? Comments from the public? Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Toffarelli.
Yes.
Sean?
Sean.
Yes. 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 Yes.
We're losing the leg.
233-21 unit 2 reclassification.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Comments from the board? Comments from the public? Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Toffarelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas.
Yes.
Trustee Wright.
Yes.
Resolution 234-21 unit 3 contract amendment.
Move the resolution.
Second.
Comments from the board? Comments from the public? Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Toffarelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas.
Yes.
Trustee Wright.
Yes.
Trustee Wright.
Yes. Yes. I said yes.
I think that was a yes.
Yes.
Yes. I'm saying yes. 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 Yes.
Resolution 235-21 unit 3 reclass.
Comments from the board? Comments from the public? Roll call.
Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Tuffarelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas. Yes. Trustee Wright.
Yes.
Resolution 236-21, payment of audited vouchers.
I hereby move that the abstract of audited vouchers be paid as soon as same is approved by the majority. Move to resolution.
Roll call.
Trustee Tuffarelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas. Trustee Wright.
Yes.
Motion closed.
Second. Before we roll call, just a note of all the meetings are on there for January, February, and March of 2022. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Roll call.
Trustee Tuffarelli.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas. Trustee Grasso.
Yes.
Trustee Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Fair.
Yes. Are there any further comments from the public on any of the agenda items or items that were not covered in the public hearings? Yes. Good evening.
Good evening. So my name is Sabrina Tavares, 209 East Euclid Street, and I'm coming here this evening as a disappointed and irritated resident. And my issue is with the building department. I purchased my home in 2014, November to be exact. And in August of 2015, I was notified by the building department that there was an open building permit on my property. I had no idea what that was because I had just purchased my home. I didn't do anything to my home. I immediately called and was asked to come in. I have dealt with Nick Pisano up until this year. At that time, I was told that the previous owner, and I was shown the application on file, had filed for to maintain an enclosed porch.
Okay.
The mom was 90-something years old, so I'm assuming at some point they had done this work. And when it was time to sell the house, or shortly after going into contract, they must have filed something with the building department. Timing, I don't know.
Right.
But it didn't show up on any title search. My closing went fine. I explained all of this to Nick at the time. He showed me the drawing. I said, this is my first. Asked to be maintained. I hired an architect. I spent thousands of dollars. No fault of my own, but I am the current owner. I had the architect come, and with my permission, he gained access to my house files, and he came back to me and he says, the house that is on file at the building department is not the home that you are currently living in. He drew my entire house again. He sat with me to go over the affidavit. In the meantime, I was getting summoned to appear in court. I and the architect appeared at every court appearance, and they kept adjourning it. And all I was told, the last thing I was told was in 2019. Now, mind you, this started in 2015. This is a long time to be dealing with anything. The last thing I was told is that, I'm sorry, I got a letter from Nick after the last court date in 2019. He says the form you filled out for the affidavit for the architect is incorrect. Now we need another form. He enclosed the form. I had the architect sign it, seal it. The architect submitted it in person. And that was November 2019. I didn't hear anything until this year. And now it's all the court. And I said, I don't know what this is for. This is a done deal. I have not done any work to my home. And here it is. This has been going on. And while everyone has been nice that I've dealt with, I'm not getting the answer. So I'm coming to the board because I've used my voice. I've done my due diligence. I've spoken to Nick each time. And then when I couldn't, I spoke to someone else in the building department. I'm not getting a resolution. I'm not getting an answer. I submitted the form 3 times, including in September. I buried my mom, and National Cemetery came here and made sure they had the form. Submitted it again, and no one got back to me. And then I got a court appearance summons again. I came down that week to the building department. Nick was not here. The young lady that helped me contacted him. He said to show up to the court date. He would be there. He knows the whole story. I showed up to the court date. He was not there. They called him on the phone. He says, oh, everything's in the file. I don't know why she hasn't been contacted. They said you will hear from someone. Last week, I get a letter from some Ben in the building department. Never have dealt with Ben. I immediately called because now he needs to know the story from 5 years ago. He was not available. I was told that he would be in Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. I called Tuesday. They told me, oh, he's out doing an inspection. I left. Asked to do. I don't know if it's because I'm a female that I'm getting to run around. I hope not. But at this point, I really don't know what it is. And I need help and I need answers because like I said, I've done everything that they asked. Now, if it was some work I did to my house and I didn't do what I was supposed to, that's one thing. But this has nothing to do with anything. I inherited a home where the file on at the building department was not complete. I even paid the court $200 and I said, why am I paying this? Oh, it's because it's ongoing. And okay, I took that, I paid that. So like, what is next? How do I get a resolution to this? Now they sent me another application, Ben sent me another application and basically told me to start from scratch again. I'm sorry.
That's okay, I just want to give you some resolution. This gentleman sitting to my left is Mr. Jay Hunt. He's the village administrator and the village clerk. He is here every day and he will be happy to address your situation and bring it to an immediate resolution.
Okay, I
Correct,
went this
Mr. Hunter?
morning.
Correct. Department, because we are not here during the day. I'm sorry, the village hall, not the village department. He represents all of our departments. And Mr. Hunter will see to it that you have resolution to your issues.
Thank you very much.
All right, you have a contact number, we'll be able to.
And I went today because I wanted to get a copy of the file. They told me to fill out the free.
Mr. Hunter will go over everything.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it. Further comments from the public? Yes.
I just want to take the opportunity to publicly thank trustee Grasso, trustee Thomas for their show of independence and respect for the